Good evening. You're watching the news tonight, your daily roundup of all that has happened across India and the world. I'm Ashan Russell, and these are the headlines that we're tracking this evening. Charges over the Augusta Westland case resound in and outside Parliament. Congress puts up a spirited defense of its leadership. The government says no to SC monitored probe. Rajya Sabha chairman accepts Vijay Mallya's resignation. Ethics committee recommends expulsion. The Supreme Court grants central government time till 6th May to reply on the feasibility of holding a floor test in the Uttarakhand Assembly. And amid severe fighting between the rebels and government forces in western Aleppo, diplomatic efforts for complete ceasefire intensify in Syria. The US warns President Assad that pursuit of military gains will not end the civil war. Our top story this evening, the government and the opposition had a sharp verbal exchange on the issue of the Augusta Westland chopper deal in the upper house today. While both sides levelled allegations against each other, the government rejected the demand for a time-bound inquiry monitored by the Supreme Court. In his reply, Defence Minister Manohar Parrikar gave a detailed account of the chronology of events and blamed the previous government for not taking strong action in the case. He also assured the House that the NDA government will conduct the inquiry swiftly.
The total money admittedly paid to this company is 1586 crore, 1586 crore. हमने अभी तक यूपीए में, I repeat, only in UPA, not in NDA, we have recovered 2062 crores. My God! 2062 crores came out of 224 crores of bank guarantee we encashed immediately, and 1881 crores on a case we lost, we appealed and we won. Just around the time the new government was coming, but it was all done in our time. Now this is without counting, sir, 3 additional helicopters we impounded. The cost of each helicopter is 300 crores.
हम समर्थन करेंगे। आप किसी तरह से भी ये लुटेरे लोगों को, ये पैसा खाने वाले लोगों को, ये देश का जो पैसा, जनता का जो पैसा है, उसको लूटने वाले लोगों को आप पकड़ के लाइए। हम लोग आपका साथ देने का काम करेंगे, लेकिन झूठे आरोप मत लगाइए।
Promise to the nation that nobody will be spared who is involved in the scam. उसका बाद 14 महीना एंटोनी जी रक्षा मंत्री रहे, लेकिन एक आदमी के खिलाफ भी कोई कार्रवाई नहीं किया गया। और उसके बाद नई सरकार आई, ये भी 2 साल से बैठे हुए हैं, ये भी एक आदमी के खिलाफ कोई कार्रवाई नहीं किया।
The requirement numbers of helicopters for the encourage was further deliberated between airport quotas, MOD and SPG. The quantity of helicopters proposed for requirement was revised from 8 to 12. You are right. But for what? Why? From 8 to 12 by adding 4 helicopters in non-VIP configuration for security reasons. 8 for VIPs, 4 for non-VIP. Don't twist the facts. These facts.
Now, alongside the political slugfest over the Augusta Westland chopper deal, a multi-agency probe into the scam is also underway. One of the main accused, former Indian Air Force Chief S.P. Tyagi, was questioned for the 3rd straight day today. During his interrogation, Tyagi has admitted to meeting a senior official of Augusta Westland's parent company, Finmeccanica. The Enforcement Directorate is also investigating the money trail, for which it is likely to summon Tyagi as well as other accused named in the CBI FIR.
CBI, which registered an FIR in the matter on 12th March 2013, based on the reference made by Ministry of Defence on 12 February 2013, did not bother to forward a copy of FIR to Enforcement Directorate for 9 months.
Rajya Sabha Chairman Mohammad Hamid Ansari today accepted Vijay Mallya's resignation as a member of the House. Deputy Chairman P.J. Kurin announced this a day after Mallya's resignation was rejected for not conforming to prescribed procedure.
Sit down. I have to inform the members that the Honorable Chairman has received a letter dated 3rd of May 2016 from Dr. Vijay Mallya, member,
representing the state of Karnataka, resigning his seat in the Rajya Sabha. He has accepted his resignation with effect from the 4th of May 2016.
Earlier, the Ethics Committee of the Rajya Sabha recommended Vijay Mallya's immediate expulsion from the upper house. The committee said that by taking stern action and expelling Mallya, Parliament would show that it is committed to take action against erring members.
Chairman of Ethics Panel Karan Singh tabled the report of the panel on the non-disclosure of liabilities as the loans taken from different banks in his assets and liabilities returns by Rajya Sabha MP Vijay Mallya on Wednesday.
Of the Committee of Ethics on the non-disclosure of liabilities such as the loans taken from different banks in his assets and liabilities returns by Dr. Vijay Mallya, member Rajya Sabha.
The panel was of the view that Mallya's actions are unbecoming of a Rajya Sabha MP. The report mentioned that the committee was of the firm view that considering the gravity of Mallya's misconduct, a sanction not less than termination of membership from the House is warranted. Vijay Mallya is charged with money laundering and loan default of over 9,400 crore rupees. He sent his resignation to the chairman of the upper house on Tuesday, but it was turned down by the chairman on procedural grounds. The upper house will now take a call on the recommendation made by the ethics panel. Kriti Mishra's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
In news about the Uttarakhand political crisis, the Supreme Court today granted the centre time till the 6th of May to apprise it on the feasibility of holding a floor test in the assembly there. This after Attorney General Mukul Rohatgi informed the top court that the Indian government is seriously considering its suggestion to hold a floor test in Uttarakhand. A two-judge bench of the top court had recommended the centre to allow a trust vote so as to put an end to the entire controversy, while noting that the move would subserve the cause of democracy. Though the Apex Court granted 2 more days to the centre, it did add that even if a decision is not taken in this regard, the matter will be taken up for hearing on Friday. In that case, there is a possibility that the matter will go to a constitution bench for a full-fledged debate.
The government has asked me to take 2 more days' time for the government to respond. So I put this prayer before the court, and the matter is now adjourned to Friday at 10:30. The court has made it clear that even if the floor test is to take place, it will not mean restoration of status quo ante, means what was the position at the time when the president rule was imposed, that position will not be restored, namely of a chief minister and a government.
जब 18 तारीख को बजट फेल हुआ, उसी दिन से हम कह रहे कि ये सरकार माइनॉरिटी में आ चुकी है, मेजॉरिटी हमारे साथ है, कांग्रेस के 9 लोग छोड़ के आए हुए हैं, सवाल झगड़ा तो इसी बात का था। तो फ्लोर पे जब भी टेस्ट का आदेश न्यायालय से होगा, भारतीय जनता पार्टी तैयार।
माननीय उच्चतम न्यायालय ने वही कहा है जो संविधान कहता है। हमारा 18 तारीख को भी बहुमत था, 28 को भी था, 31 को भी था और आज भी है, और जिस दिन ये फ्लोर टेस्ट होगा उस दिन भी रहे।
As the last phase of the month-long election process in West Bengal, or as Mamata Banerjee says, the end of Festival of Democracy in the state. 25 constituencies in Cooch Behar and East Midnapur will go to the polls tomorrow, and voting will begin at 7 a.m.
Polling for the 6th and final phase of assembly elections in West Bengal will begin at 7 a.m. amid tight security. 25 of the state's total 294 constituencies will go to polls in this phase. An electorate of over 58 lakhs is eligible to exercise its franchise in 6,774 polling booths to decide the fate of 170 candidates. Cooch Behar and East Midnapur are going to polls in this phase, and if past performance is evaluated, TMC should have it easy. But then again, this is no ordinary election. Whether it brings about a change in guard or not, Mamata Banerjee's rhetoric in East Midnapur amply shows that she is evidently concerned. The Left Congress alliance has also sensed the chinks in the armour and has upped its ante. In the 6th phase, a total of 170 candidates are in the fray, of whom 18 are female candidates. They will be contesting for the 25 seats at stake. The BJP and TMC have fielded 25 candidates each to contest in all the seats. The left is contesting in 17 seats, the Congress in 4, BSP in 8, and there are 24 independents and 67 others in the fray. Overall, TMC is expected to dominate and win the majority of the seats in this phase. It will like to bag at least 20 of the 25 seats. The Left Congress alliance will try to keep it down to around 15, though for that it will virtually need to sweep Coach Bihar. The Election Commission, which has been the man of the series of these polls, will have to ensure that the process continues peacefully on Thursday too. It may just make the difference in the final calculation. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha Television.
Now, the catastrophic drought in Bulletin has brought beetle cultivators on the brink of ruin in the Mahoba district. The beetle leaf grown in this region is known for its distinct flavor. But since beetle cultivation is not recognized as an agricultural activity, the farmers are unable to avail of any drought relief. Watch this Rajya Sabha TV special report.
Besides its local heroes Alha and Udal, Mahoba is famous for its beetle leaf. But the fact remains there can be no beetle cultivation without water. In fact, lots of water. Not only does it demand a special type of expertise, beetle cultivation is done on the banks of water bodies. This year, though, they have all gone dry in Mahoba. And getting water for his beetle crop is driving the cultivator to ruin. Prosperous farmers who used to employ labourers once are forced to offer to look for work services themselves. Beetle leaf is also cultivated in other places adjoining Chhatarpur, but even that is sold as a trademark Mahoba product.
सबसे बड़ी परेशानी तो ये है कि पानी नहीं गिरा और पानी के साथ साथ अब हमारे बगल में एक बारी गांव पड़ता है तो वहां पे काफ़ी बरेजे पानी के सूखा की से ख़त्म हो गए.
In the last few years, climate change has come as a huge setback for the cultivator, but it's the back-to-back droughts in the last 2 years that has brought them on the brink of starvation. Beetle cultivation is an extremely sensitive and expensive enterprise. The plants need to be watered at least thrice a day in hot summers. That, unfortunately, is no longer possible in Mahoba. Once upon a time, the Mahoba beetle leaf used to be exported to places like Pakistan and the Arab countries. Nearly 800 families were associated with its cultivation. Today, their numbers can be counted on fingers.
1980 से NBRI का यहाँ पर एक सेंटर कार्यरत हुआ जिस मेरी देखभाल में हुआ तो उस समय जो है पान का धीरे धीरे क्षेत्रफल 500 एकड़ तक पहुँच गया था और फिर निरंतर यहाँ से सेंटर को जो है बंद कर दिया गया 2003 में और यहाँ पर पान किसानों को जो है जो सुविधा मिल रही थी वो मिलना कम हुई.
Farmers are all set to leave beetle cultivation not only because it's a losing proposition, but also since they expect no help from the government. Beetle cultivation isn't entitled to loans as an agriculture enterprise. As a result, cultivation has shrunk from 500 acres once to just 150 acres now.
यहाँ तो किसानों की ये स्थिति है कि कुछ मिल ही जाता है लेकिन पान किसानों को कुछ नहीं मिलता. अभी तक कोई सहायता नहीं मिलती. पान किसानों के लिए कोई व्यवस्था नहीं है. पान किसान बुरी तरह पानी से परेशान है.
The efforts needed to save beetle cultivation in Mahoba, unfortunately, are not forthcoming either from the governments of Uttar Pradesh or Madhya Pradesh. Meanwhile, the drought and the water scarcity are conspiring to rob Bundelkhand of one of its unique legacies. Arvind Kumar Singh's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
Some more national news stories now in Nationwide. The Supreme Court has directed all tobacco companies to implement the rule mandating 85% pictorial warnings on packets of tobacco products. The Supreme Court also transferred all petitions of the tobacco industry to the Karnataka High Court. The tobacco industry had taken the government to court, arguing that the directives were too harsh. A joint team of CBI and UP Special Task Force has arrested Ramesh Shivhare in Kanpur, one of the main accused in the Vyapam scam. Shivhare is accused of providing solvers in the Madhya Pradesh Professional Examination Board exam. Various forecasting agencies, including the Indian Met Department, have predicted normal or above normal rainfall this year. The monsoon seasonal rainfall is likely to be 106% for the long period average. Monsoon is expected to hit Kerala by the end of May or early June. Time for us to take a short break. Lots more on the other side. Do stay tuned.
How would you really tell the people that you're different from AIADMK?
We have delivered. It's there for people to see.
When you defend DMK so vociferously, the same party which you left, doesn't that put you in a very awkward situation?
Nowhere I have spoken a word against Stalin. Nowhere Stalin has spoken a word against me.
When you go down on the ground and talk to the common people, the only word on their lips is Amma and her welfare schemes.
You know, you turn right, you turn left, you look up, you look down, you see only Amma, Amma, Amma.
Watch To The Point with Congress spokesperson and Tamil film actress Khushbu only on Rajya Sabha television.
Welcome back. You're watching the news tonight. Some international news now. And amid efforts to restore peace in Syria, the city of Aleppo continues to be at the receiving end of relentless bombardment by government forces and retaliatory shelling by the rebels. As the situation worsens in Aleppo, United Nations Security Council has called an urgent meeting to discuss the Syrian crisis. Both the US and Russia say efforts are underway to freeze the fighting in the region and reach a peace deal.
As fighting rages on in Aleppo, diplomatic efforts for a complete ceasefire in Syria have intensified. Amidst the fighting between Syrian rebels and government forces in western Aleppo, US Secretary of State John Kerry warned Syrian President Bashar al-Assad that seeking military gains will not end the civil war. Despite being hopeful of a complete ceasefire, Kerry said there would be repercussions if the Syrian government defied a cessation of violence agreed in February.
It is simply physically impossible for Assad to just carve out an area and pretend that he's somehow going to make it safe while the underlying issues are unresolved in this war.
Dozens of people were killed in Tuesday in a day-long battle between rebels and government forces in Aleppo and its outskirts. Syrian military has blamed the Al-Qaeda-linked Nusra Front for the attacks, a group which was not included in the ceasefire agreement.
مع التأكيد على أن تلك الجرائم النكراء المرتكبة بحق المدنيين السوريين هي جرائم ضد الإنسانية لا تسقط بالتقدم كما لابد من تقديم مرتكبيها والمسؤولين عنها إلى العدالة.
Earlier, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov held talks with UN envoy Staffan de Mistura in Moscow and said that efforts were underway to agree on freezing fighting in Aleppo. He said Russia was working with the UN and the US to include Aleppo in the regime of calm that has covered Damascus and Latakia since Saturday.
И мы призываем всех наших партнеров, прежде всего Соединенные Штаты, как сопредседателей в международной группе поддержки Сирии, использовать свое влияние на членов возглавляемой ими коалиции.
On Wednesday, United Nations Security Council will hold an urgent meeting to discuss the crisis in Syria. The 15-member council will hear a report on the situation in Aleppo, where fighting threatens to unravel international peace efforts. A partial truce is in effect in Syria, but it does not cover Aleppo, the country's largest city. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Now in the United States, Donald Trump has become the Republican Party's presumptive nominee after scoring a convincing win in Indiana, forcing out his rival Ted Cruz. Trump, who has defied experts' predictions, has now only John Kasich fighting him for the delegates. On the Democratic side, Bernie Sanders pulled a surprise victory over Hillary Clinton.
Ted Cruz needed Indiana, so he built a pact with John Kasich. He appointed a running mate, spent time and money, basically threw everything he had at it. He gambled big, but he lost.
We gave it everything we've got. But the voters chose another path. And so, with a heavy heart, but with boundless optimism for the long-term future of our nation, we are suspending our campaign.
Cruz had wanted a one-on-one contest with Donald Trump. The stage was set for that in Indiana. Cruz believed he could win such a contest, but he did not. Donald Trump, though, was in an unlikely avatar as he walked onto the stage. There was the air of victory about him, but he spoke warmly of the man he has spent the last few weeks pulling apart.
Ted Cruz, I don't know if he likes me or if he doesn't like me, but he is one hell of a competitor. He is a tough, smart guy. And he has got an amazing future.
On the Democratic side, Bernie Sanders scored a surprise victory. He pulled back what was once a commanding lead for Hillary Clinton, and his campaign now moves forward with a fresh momentum.
I think we can pull off one of the great political upsets in the history of the United States, and in fact become the nominee for the Democratic Party. And then once we secure that position, I have absolute confidence that we are going to defeat Donald Trump.
Sanders, a self-declared socialist, beat Clinton by 53.2% to 46.8%, although Clinton remains well ahead in the overall delegate battle for the nomination.
When we started this campaign, we were 60 points behind Secretary Clinton in national polls. Now, a few of the polls actually have us ahead or a few points down.
Donald Trump is now all but the presumptive presidential nominee for the Republican Party. A campaign which was predicted to implode within weeks has harnessed its strength and anger across America over the past 10 months. Donald Trump is now determined more than ever to prove his doubters wrong again and win the White House. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Some more international news now in Global Buzz. Bangladeshi police arrested 5 men deported from Singapore as part of an investigation into an alleged Islamist plot to carry out attacks in Singapore. Singapore's Ministry of Home Affairs reported on Tuesday that it had detained 8 other Bangladeshi men who were planning attacks in their homeland using the name Islamic State in Bangladesh. The 5 men who returned to Bangladesh were not involved with that group, but jihadi-related material was found in their possession. Extremist group Abu Sayyaf released a new video on Wednesday threatening to kill 3 more hostages. The hostages were kidnapped along with John Ridsdale, who was beheaded on the 25th of April in southern Philippines. Abu Sayyaf had demanded a ransom of $6.4 million for each of the 3 hostages before the 25th of April. The hostages who appear in the video include another Canadian, a Norwegian and a Filipino. British expats living in the EU would face years of legal uncertainty if the country exits the European Union. The conclusions of a parliamentary committee heightened fears expressed by many British citizens living in the EU. There are more than 2 million Britons living in the EU. A referendum on Britain's membership of the EU is going to be held on the 23rd of June 2016. Australian Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull today said that the general elections in the country will be held on the 2nd of July. The decision was made public hours after the coalition government presented its new budget. The parliament will be dissolved to make way for elections in July. It's time for some sports now, and the Indian cricket team will tour Zimbabwe for a 3-match one-day series and 3 T20 internationals in June this year. 6 matches are scheduled to be held over 12 days. While the one-dayers will be played on the 11th, 13th and 15th of June, the T20 internationals will be played on the 18th, 20th and 22nd of June. All matches will be played at Harare. India had toured Zimbabwe under skipper Ajinkya Rahane in July last year. The visitors won the one-day series 3-0, while the T20 series was tied 1-1. This is the 4th time India will be touring Zimbabwe in the last 6 years.
Yes, he does. That's what we said. Terrific win for India.
Some more sports news now in Sports Beat. The Indian women's hockey team lost 0-2 in their opening encounter of the 5-match test series against Great Britain in Marlow on Tuesday night. This loss came as a blow to the Indian team after a rather disappointing outing at the Hawke's Bay Cup last month. 7 Indian shuttlers are set to qualify for the Olympics game at Rio de Janeiro. The list includes 2 women's singles players in Saina Nehwal and PV Sindhu, 1 men's singles player in Kidambi Srikanth, the women's doubles pairing of Jwara Gutta and Ashwini Ponnappa, while Manu Atri and Sumit Reddy make up the men's doubles team. The Olympic flame began its 95-day journey through over 300 of Brazil's cities on Tuesday. The relay will come to an end with the Olympic Games' official inauguration ceremony, which will take place at the Maracana Stadium on the 5th of August in Rio. Britain's Andy Murray edged out Czech Radek Stepanek in 3 sets in the second round of the Madrid Open on Tuesday. The world number 2 got off to a slow start, losing his first service game and eventually managing to win the set on a tiebreaker. Well, that's the news tonight. Good night.